Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to my very first draft video series here on my channel. But it's not gonna be your regular draft, we're gonna do something a little different. So there is currently a new draft format on Arena that I think came out today, I'm not sure. At least I noticed it today. It's called Omniscience Draft. It's basically a draft format where every player effectively has an Omniscience emblem, being able to play any spell without paying its mana cost, and you're also once per turn, both on yours and your opponent's turn, you can one time get 1 mana of each color that you can spend on abilities and kicker and stuff. Yeah, that's important to know. Kicker does not count as the cost, you need to pay that in addition. And since you don't want to put lands in your deck, cards that have a kicker that cost more than 5, or abilities or kickers that cost more than 1 color and or more than 5 mana, especially require that to be good, are deceptively bad in the format because you can't really support them, and then you end up with like the vanilla version of it. Like for example the 4-drop Legendary Knight with ManuS that makes a bunch of zombies for 6 mana kicker, but the 6 mana kicker is like almost impossible to pay. Or like Shalai, Voice of the Plenty's ability, costs both 6 and double green, doesn't really work. I just did my first draft in the event, went 6-0, then lost 1, then should have won 1, threw it away because I punted pretty hard, lost, and then won the last round in a pretty close game, mulliganing to 1. That's the other thing, you start with 3 cards, not 7. But yeah, managed to turn it around and the opponent eventually scooped it up. And yeah, this is the most fun I had in like Magic in God knows how long. The format was hilarious, this draft is just insane. So I wanted to make a video and share the fun with you guys, and also like share my insights into the format, because the format is very different from regular draft obviously, and their card evaluations change drastically accordingly, and my opponents were doing a lot of really bad things against me, so I want to like show you guys how to succeed in the format and also how to enjoy the format the most. Like, it's just hilarious. I think I won once or twice on like turn 1. So yeah, that's just insane. So yeah, we're gonna do an Omniscience draft. The draft is Dominaria draft. It's best of 1. So yeah, no sideboarding, and you're gonna use 40 out of 42 cards basically. So you want to make sure that every pick is like spot on, because every bad pick is going to be punished because you have it in your deck most likely. Alright, so let's take a look. Okay, so this is our first pack and our first pick. Actually I got a really daring archaeologist. I don't know some of the more obscure, not constructed relevant rares in the set. Card is not very great in the format. It's just kind of like a decent body that might grow a bit. There are not a lot of artifacts, especially artifacts that you can back, so she's not very impressive. Sarah Angel is okay, but actually not that great. Ghana, the Blood Flame on the other hand, is insane, and both my like turn 1 wins were with Ghana. She's just insane. There's so many synergies, like you can even mill creatures with mill cards or with like Dark Bargain and then return them and so on, and just giving all your creatures haste is insane, especially for 0 mana. So Garna is a stone cold bomb in this format, and I don't even need to look at the rest of the pack because there's no common that is better than Garna. Garna is better than a ton of rares. So yeah, Garna is the stone cold nuts. The second best pick in this pack would probably not close be Dark Bargain, because card draw is just insane. When it costs 0 mana, you just sift through your entire deck. So anything that cycles or draws you more than 1 card is amazing. And then the next best cards probably are like Eviscerate and probably Fiery Intervention over Sarah Angel, and then probably Sarah Angel and the other random stuff. So yeah, Ghana is an insane bomb in this format and an amazing first pick. Okay, next we have Trainer's Torment. That card is super underwhelming in the format. Super slow, and just doesn't matter. Like, the games play on like completely different angles, and the card is already not great in normal draft, and it's as bad or even worse here. Ugoros is solid, like it's a strong first turn play, basically, since if the opponent doesn't have any cards anymore, which happens quickly with 3 cards, drawing cards is actually kind of better than making them discard cards anyway. And it's a fairly big flyer. It's a bit slow though for the format. Like there are a lot of things that just kind of make you look stupid when you try to attack for 4 turn and draw a card. But it's definitely a solid card. Then we have Untamed Kabu. Not very impressive. I mean, it's a 5/5 Vigilance Trample, which is not bad, but it's also not that impressive in the format, and it's also like not that big for the format size. Then we have Unwind, which is kinda nice since countering opposing card draw is pretty powerful, and also protecting like your bombs like Ghana and stuff is pretty good, so this is a fairly high pick, I would say. Then we have Caligo Skinwitch. I think Skinwitch is super powerful when you're on the play, because then just reducing your opponent's hand from like 3 to 1 is brutal. But keep in mind on the draw you often might only end up hitting like 1 card or something. So it has some variance to it, but all in all it's a pretty powerful card in the format, I would say. And then we have Keldon Overseer, another pretty decent card since haste is really powerful in this format. There are a lot of big guys, so just stealing like their biggest creature can really swing the game, so it's a pretty solid card, but not that great. Like, it's not a super haymaker, but it's a very solid card. And then we have like Baloth Gorger, which is just basically a 7/7, which is not that great, and it eats up your 4 out of the 5 additional mana that you have in the turn, so it's actually a lot worse than, say, the 6 mana 7/6 Worm, because you can play that and like a kicker or activate an ability, so it's not that great. I think that equipment is just kind of too slow and kind of irrelevant, also eats up 3 of your activation mana, so I think my pick here would probably be between like Ugoros and Skinwitch. The fact that this is also legendary is a neat bonus, but without haste, especially on the draw, it's kind of so-so. I think I'd just rather take the Skinwitch and go for like maximum immediate impact and just cripple my opponent, like especially on the play when you don't have a super powerful opening, you can just deny them having a powerful opening by discarding cards. But yeah, later in the game she's kind of so-so, so it's kind of a close pick between the 3 of those, but I think Skinwitch. Okay, then we have Torga, Famine Incarnate. Gets cheaper, so that's not very impressive. Although putting them from like 20 to 10 at the start of the game is kind of nice. So yeah, that makes it at least a pretty decent card in this format. But we have Divination, which is amazing in this format for obvious reasons. And I think Divination is a bit better than Torgar, so I'm just gonna take Divination here, and then we have like some okay-ish removal. This is just too slow and needs too much setup, I think. Then we have a bunch of fatties and a bunch of like kind of badish cards. So yeah, Divination it is. Okay, then we have a bunch of tokens, not great. This is kinda slow, but potentially powerful in a way. This is like okay, it also eats up all your mana that turn except for 1. Makes a bunch of jump blockers basically, so it's just like a mediocre defensive card. Nothing too great. This pack is overall pretty bad for this format, really. Yeah, this also doesn't do a whole lot for us here. So I'm kind of not sure what I want to take here. Maybe Whisper is fine because at least a historic and or legendary creature. And yeah, in the games take a couple turns, this can do some powerful stuff. The rest all really seems pretty weak, like Fervent Strike is okay because, you know, it's a trick. Actually, I think maybe I just take Guardians, because bouncing historic permanents can be quite useful, so I think I might like this a bit better than Whisper, but not 100% sure. I'll take it for now. We have Ghana, like bouncing Ghana can be nice. Yeah, this is just like a 4/3 flying, which is neat. Okay-ish trick. Yeah, all in all, not a very impressive pack. Memorial is actually playable and fine, but also a bit slow and only relevant in games that last for a while, so just take the cantrip. Like I said, anything that cycles is great. Opt, Warlord's Fury, that sort of stuff. And here we have a bunch of underwhelming stuff, basically. Yeah, this can have some synergies with like Garner and stuff, milling some cards. But yeah, the whole pack's pretty weak. This is nice in the sense that it can kind of like block everything, because you have the mana to spend on this usually. But Dauntless Bodyguard might be a bit better just as a like protection, protecting a creature from like removal type stuff. But it's pretty close. Like the pack is pretty weak and it's probably one of the two. I think I'll try the Bodyguard. Okay, so here we have some more mediocre cards and some cycling. Befuddle and Fury. Fury has the upside of being cyclable for free. Like, doesn't need a target on the opposing side, for example. Befuddle, however, can also be a trick, and at worst you can often play it on like your smallest creature, even post-combat potentially. So I think, and it's an instant, so I think I like Befuddle a bit better. But it's pretty close. And yeah, this pack, once again, bunch of trivial stuff. And Fury. This can have some benefits because of the milling and stuff, but it's pretty small. So yeah, Fury it is. Dark Bargain is amazing. That's the thing where I really hate drafting with bots. Like, there's no way you would ever get this late if you would draft with humans in this format. This is one of the best comments in the set, basically. This is better than Divination. This is amazing in this format. And yeah, the bots having really weird evaluations here, probably even using like the regular Dominaria evaluations, is just absurd. So yeah. And this is kind of artificially warping the format. Yeah, easy unwind here. This pack's pretty bad. Like, I guess this might be the most appealing one still. Like, I don't think this does enough probably, but this at least can kind of protect us against flyers if necessary. But it is pretty close, it's all pretty bad here. This is definitely the kind of card you really don't want in your deck if you can avoid it. Don't have any enchantments. This might do some stuff for us, but not a lot. I'll try and opt for this as like a trick, but this does a bit more. Either way, not happy with picking up any of these. This is neat on like legendaries, but we don't have a whole lot of these. Basically one. This has some utility. This is like so bad, I hope we don't have to put it in the deck. This is really sad because I need one of those and I might have to take it. The next best card in the the best card in the pack, I would say, is definitely Blink, because cycling and kind of protecting from it, removal, reusing something, stuff like that is really, really good. But since the pack is actually not that strong, I'll just take the Clifftop Retreat for my collection. There's only so many free picks that you get, it's basically like 2, so we might have to play the Scholar. So it's a pretty costly pick, but I really, really need this and have like 1 rare wildcard, so I'll have to take it. And yeah, here I think it's a pretty clear final parting. This card is so good. Like, for example, you can use this 2-4 card, put like your best creature in the graveyard, and then play Garna and just return the creature. I did that in my last draft. I had one of each of those. You can find the screenshots of the first draft on my social media platforms. But yeah, Soul Salvage is decent, but also more when the games get grindy, which you can't guarantee. So Final Parting is just a pick. 0 mana tutors that also put something in your graveyard happen to be pretty powerful. This is not that great, like it's okay-ish. And yeah, once again, like I said, I think anything that cycles is great, and this is a particularly good example of this. This is decent because you can rebuy your own stuff and you can get rid of a blocker for a turn if you need to. And since the pack is otherwise pretty weak, it only returns a creature, but still does good stuff. This can gain us 10, which is neat, not that impressive. And yeah, the rest just kind of underwhelming, like this is okay-ish, but 4 damage is just not a whole lot in this format. So we'll take this. Flame of Keld is actually kind of nice, because you have so few cards, you just play it and the next turn you draw 2 extra cards. So I think that's going to be our pick over like Adventurous Impulse, because the card's quite high variance. So yeah, that seems like a pretty solid pickup here. Thorn Elemental is pretty good. This is okay-ish, but I think it's kind of worse in this format than normal as removal, because it's more likely that it either is going to be too slow or the opponent can somehow handle it by bouncing their creature or stuff. And Thorn Elemental is a pretty good threat in this format. Might not have enough cards to support this. This is one of the more decent creatures, I would say, both because it clocks fairly well and trades up. Yeah, how many historic cards do we have? Like 1, 2, not a whole lot. Yeah, 3. Yeah, there's no way we can play this. So yeah, we just take the Abomination. Another Final Parting. That's another card that like you would never get this late. You would draft with humans. The card is just a premium uncommon in this format. But yeah, happily take the tutor to try and kill people. Like you can just always go like Final Parting, find Garner and like Thorn Elemental, then play Garner, return Thorn Elemental, hit them for 7. Stuff like that. Just Garner Final Parting is just a super sweet and powerful combo. And yeah, another pretty empty pack, so we just take a random fatty. Also, fatties are good with Garner. Yeah, Soul Salvage is decent, because the games can become grindy if there are not like super broken things happening, and then drawing 2 creatures for free is pretty good. Also nice synergy with Garner once again. Yeah, they're all kind of underwhelming, but Rescue is a neat protection and or synergy thing with like, for example, you can go Witch into like Witch the next turn, stuff like that. This is an okay blocker. I think, let's see, how many creatures do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not really enough. So yeah, I guess I'll just take another Sentinel. This is a really bad pick. I guess Scholar will make it in. This is a pretty solid card for obvious reasons. Card advantage, reusing powerful spells is really good. Sarah Angel, it's okay. Not great. We don't have any like obviously insane cards for the format. This is decent, mainly because of this Cry. But yeah, Conjecture is pretty powerful, and it's a rare, so happy to pick up a rare. This is another pretty solid card here, because you can grind them really well. My last deck had that too, and it was quite nice. This is decent, but we don't have that many creatures, and it's kind of slow-ish. And yeah, since there's no obvious insane cards for the format in here. I mean, this is also kind of nice, because it just keeps coming back. But this just kind of does it better. Like, how much do we have to trigger this? 1, 2... Boyish cards, not that much. This is kind of comparable to Skeleton. Guess I'll take the Phantom. Theros Wings is pretty solid. Salvage so-so. Yeah, I think I like Theros Wings. Flying is good, lifelink is also good when fatties are going nuts. So yeah, let's take on Theros Wings. Steal Away is pretty solid. Blink of an Eye is very nice. I think I like Blink a bit better than Steal Away, but it is close. Yeah, I think I'll take Blink. Just cycling through your deck is so powerful. That's a pretty sad pack. This is basically only good in your opening hand, and after that it's just atrocious. And there are probably not that many creatures in this format anyway. It's pretty bad. And yeah, I mean, this doesn't do so much in this format. Like, I'm not even sure if you can choose X, like I don't know how it works. I haven't tried it yet, but I think you can't choose X, or you can just like choose a generic X. Or X can be a maximum of 5, which means it only works against like cards that have a kicker. Guess we just take the fatty. I have a couple of like weak cards already, so I don't want to pick Syncopate hoping that it's good, that it's gonna do something. And yeah, this pack's pretty weak, so I'll just take Memorial, I think. Rebuying some of our good cards. This is an okay removal with all the fatties, and I like it better than in Salvage, especially because we don't have a lot of stuff to deal with opposing cards. Opt is great for obvious reasons. This pack is pretty bad once again. This is actually potentially decent because it can like enable an Alpha Strike, so I'll just pick that because we have enough of the other cards already. This pack is so weak again. We have a couple of enchantments we can return. We have like Bigger, Flame, on Sarah's Wings, Conjecture. That's it. Huh. I guess it's a bit better than the Assistant, but not sure. I'll take the Death Touch guy. Yeah, well, take the random 5/4. At least it deals that. Recharge Sentinel. Take Seismic Shift. Okay, so I guess the Squirk is gonna make it in over these two utter blanks. And yeah, this is our deck. A pile of 40 cards. That's the one thing that's a bit lame. I think the deck size should be smaller so that you could like craft more of a deck, because this way you just play 40 out of the 42 cards that you get, and so it's a lot more high variance. I think if the deck size would be like 30 cards or something, it would make more sense. That's like my main criticism of the format. Not sure how hard that would be to implement, but yeah. Other than that, the format is hilarious fun. Like, my first match was insane. And my first run, and it just was a blast, so I needed to immediately record another one for you guys. Alright, so this is our deck. I'll be back with game 1 in a moment. Stay tuned.